The Effect of Water Filtration Type on Total Dissolved Solids in Water by Miguel Tsang, West Potomac High School. Research question. Total Dissolved Solids, or TDS, is a measure of how many substances have dissolved into a particular sample of water. TDS is commonly seen as a cosmetic factor since it has noticeable effects on the look and taste of water, but high levels of it can indicate harmful materials present in water. That raises the question, which water filter will be most effective at removing TDS from water? Answering this question is important because by removing TDS, water will appear and taste better and have a lower chance of containing harmful material. Through this experiment, people will learn what factors make a water filter able to efficiently remove TDS. Methodology and procedures. Water from the Potomac River was used in order to have a water source with a high TDS level and lots of potential for purification. My independent variable is the type of water filter being used. The three I used were a homemade filter, a Brita brand filter, and Zero Water brand filter, and my dependent variable is the amount of TDS remaining in the water after filtration is complete. The control for my experiment is Potomac River water without any prior purification or filtration. Constants include the device being used to measure TDS, the digital TDS water tester, which is pictured in the lower right corner of the slide, the temperature of the water, the place where the water is collected from, and the amount of water being filtered. Finally, my hypothesis is that if the Zero Water filter is used, then the TDS level will be the lowest out of any of the filters. Three different types and brands of filters were used in this experiment. The first filter is one made from scratch using household materials. It has 4 different parts, starting with a layer of gravel to block out large solids. Second is a GAC, or granular activated carbon layer, that chemically removes and absorbs substances like mercury and chlorine. Finally, sand is used to remove smaller solids, and coffee filters are put in place to block out any of the filter's components from entering the water sample. The next filter I used was the Brita Standard Replacement Filter. According to the official Brita website, these filters have 3 main components: a mesh screen at the top to prevent black flecks from getting in the water, activated carbon granules similar to the previous filter, and an ion exchange resin. The third and final filter that I used was the Zero Water filter. Its official website lists its 5 stages. First is a coarse filter to remove suspended solids and make the water clearer, a foam distributor to remove suspended solids, an activated carbon and oxidation reduction alloy to remove organic contaminants, and then an ion exchange resin to remove inorganic particles. Finally, it has a mesh screen to remove any other suspended solids. An important detail to note is that suspended solids are different from dissolved solids, since the term refers to larger undissolved solid particles. 3 separate trials were done for this experiment. These are the results of Trial 1, Trial 2, and Trial 3. An observation that I made was that the homemade filter was the least effective of the 3. The Zero Water filter was the most effective since it removed 98% of TDS in the first trial and 100% on the other 2. No errors were encountered in this experiment, although a possible mistake that could have been made was the controls of each trial being different since water samples from the Potomac were collected on different days. However, this experiment does not measure the amount of TDS being removed, but rather the percent from the total. It could be said that the Zero Water filter is the most effective since it has the most components, and while that definitely helps it, there are other factors that influence its high performance. One technology which all 3 of the filters used in this project share is GAC, or granular activated carbon. GAC specializes in removing organic compounds like chlorine and pesticides in the water. However, other substances like iron and most solids will not be stopped by GAC alone. This explains why the homemade filter was the least effective of the 3, since GAC alone cannot remove TDS, and the sand, gravel, and coffee filter were not enough to block out the rest of the solids. A technology which the Brita and Zero Water filters both have is called ion exchange resin. The ion exchange resin in the filters uses electric charge to attract non-water ions, leaving the filter without unwanted dissolved solids. This technology gave the Zero Water and Brita filters an advantage over the homemade filter in terms of dissolved solid removal. However, the Brita filter only contains one mesh screen at the top designed to block black flecks from water, while the zero water filter contains a coarse filter screen at the top, as well as a foam distributor under it, and another ultrafine screen at the bottom to remove additional suspended solids. The coarse filter screen, which is designed to block out dust, can explain why the zero water sample appeared clearer than the Brita sample, since the Brita filter had no such mechanism. Overall, the zero water filter is the best household filter to remove TDS from the water due to its ion exchange system and its coarse filter screen for removing dust. However, that is not to say it is the best water filter to exist. Factors including price and how important TDS is to a particular consumer can affect purchasing decisions. Finally, just because TDS level is low or none does not necessarily mean that the water is automatically safe to drink, since the measure of TDS does not indicate corrosiveness or any biological material which could be present in the water. And finally, these are my references.